Okay, let's start with something you're not going to see trending on X. You're not going to see posting on CNN. You're not going to see getting some loving profile piece on the New York Times. Of course not, right? Kash Patel walks into the FBI, probably have his latte in his hand, looks around the room and says, you, and you, get the F out. Well, why? Hey, boss, what do we do? Except these guys knew exactly what they did. As many before them knew exactly what they did. And yet supporters of Trump and Patel scream not enough. Not enough handcuffs, not enough arrests, not enough action. Pacing their living room and their armchairs. Hey, come on, we want more. You think it's that easy? These are Beltway lifers. Protected by Beltway lifers. Well, these were big moves. More momentum in an ever-growing pace. If you've noticed, this pace is picking up. It's starting to accelerate because the more of these Beltway lifers you get rid of, the easier it is to get more Beltway lifers. Did you hear what we just learned about Bill Barr? Did you catch it? Because the more layers of this onion you peel away, the more it makes you cry, doesn't it? Because the more potent it gets, the stronger it gets. And the more people that are coming out of the woodwork and starting to inform you what's happening. And we're learning a whole lot now, aren't we? Because this bloodbath at the FBI is just the tip of the iceberg. And just a portion of the story I'll bring you in 1 minute. See, we live in a different world now, don't we? Before you had protests, you had riots. You threw cinder blocks at law enforcement officials. Under Biden administration, you probably were released the next day. But in the Trump administration, a grand jury indicts you to potentially 20 years in prison. It's not the same world anymore. Paramount, man. Indicted by federal grand jury for throwing chunks of cinder block at and injuring Border Patrol officer. Jacob Daniel Terraza, 30 of Paramount, is charged with 1 count of assault of a federal employee by use of a deadly and dangerous weapon resulting in bodily injury. Scheduled to go to trial on September 23rd. Innocent until proven guilty. You may serve 20 years in a federal prison cell. It's just not worth it. Different world. Nothing's changing, Justice. Everything's the same. It's not. Different world, different system. Things are changing. That would never have happened before. It's the little victories, as long as they keep compiling on themselves, that you now have systemic change. This is systemic change. This is good news. We've had a lot of it, haven't we? Just a few days ago, August 5th, Chairman Comer subpoenas Bill and Hillary Clinton. We heard about this story, right? Former U.S. Attorney General, FBI directors, records related to Jeffrey Epstein. I know the ongoing saga, right? Continues. Who was subpoenaed? Not enough. No handcuffs, no arrest. I get it, right? But when in history would Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Merrick Garland, James Comey, William Barr, Alberto Gonzales, Jeff Sessions, Robert Mueller, Loretta Lynch, and Eric Holder all be subpoenaed at the same time? Asking for a friend. Just wondering. That's normal? Of course not. Of course it's not normal. It's progress. It's again stacking the deck higher and higher because the insulation's not there anymore. The insulation's being removed. Things like this will start happening at an accelerated pace. What do we learn? Robert Mueller's maybe not even able to testify. Nobody knew this. Robert Mueller to appear for a September 2nd deposition to provide details for an FBI investigation of Jeffrey Epstein from decades ago, even though sources tell me Mueller has been living in a memory care facility for the past few years. What other truths are about to come out? Well, we only had to wait about a day or so for this truth. You see, this only happens when you've removed enough people now that these truths appear to be self-evident because there's nobody there to protect them anymore. Text, notes, and emails expose Fani Willis and Bill Barr worked together on the RICO case targeting President Trump. This exposed by Project Veritas. What? I know a lot of people like Bill Barr, but that's explosive. Why is this coming forward? Well, because a young lady was comfortable enough now to bring it forward. Patricia Lalise, whistleblower. Because there's not as many people around anymore to come after her. So she felt comfortable to bring her notes forward. This is what I keep trying to tell everyone. Things have changed. The landscape has changed now. If they don't feel there's as many Beltway lifers around anymore and they don't have to look over their shoulder to who's going to come after them, well, now they're more comfortable to bring that information forward. The landscape has changed. When things happen at the FBI, when we cover in just a second, things change. We've been doing this for a long time, folks. I mean, we had to do just like what the whistleblowers are doing. Just this technological world in itself, there's a reason we did our platform. Because we had to. Because there was news we wanted to bring. And what do we have to do? Just like these whistleblowers, we had to do things on our own. We had to escape the Beltway. I know how they feel. For all of you who've subscribed here, who've supported us through all these years, through all these fights, through all this agony, man, thank you so much. All of you have double-checked that you are still subscribed here. Thank you so much for helping us through this fight, for joining as a member here, for providing super thanks, for helping me to share the videos. It means the world to me. Those of you who jumped over yesterday, I can't believe how many of you went over to restrictedrepublic.com. The platform me and Lisa built on our own. It's the one we own, we control. That is, you don't need Fox News or CNN or MSNBC. You're welcome to go and visit them, of course. Go ahead. Please don't go to CNN or MSNBC. I mean, Fox News, if you want to, great. You want real news? No commercials, no interruptions. Go to restrictedrepublic.com. That's the news platform where we cover the news for you. The news that matters. We'd love you there today. Join our family. No commercials, no interruptions. Just Lisa and me. Exclusive content you don't get anywhere else. That is restrictedrepublic.com. Join us today. But now let's get back to this broadcast because we've got a lot to cover, don't we? FBI firing senior officials at odds with Trump administration. CNN, that's the way they cover it, of course. The only reason they fired them was because they were at odds with Trump officials. Who did they fire? Brian Driscoll, Steve Jensen, and, well, another gentleman we'll cover in a second. Do you know why? Well, if you followed the paper trail, you'd know exactly why. This letter going to Kash Patel and Pam Bondi from Grassley, June 5th, 2025. Nothing's happening. Walter B. Gardena. Further, on April 29, 2025, I sent a letter to you highlighting the political weaponization by the FBI against Peter Navarro. In that letter, I made public FBI emails regarding the investigation and later prosecution of Navarro. These communications provided a behind-the-scenes snapshot of some of the actions taken by the FBI Washington field office to investigate Navarro for contempt of Congress and obstruction. The emails show that Special Agent Walter Gardena played a significant role in the investigation and ultimately prosecution of Navarro. My office has also been informed that Special Agent Gardena was involved in Arctic Frost, Crossfire Hurricane, Special Counsel Mueller's investigation, which he received an award for the latter, as well as the Dan Scavino, Roger Stone, and Hillary Clinton cases. Wow. He ends up getting fired as part of that bloodbath yesterday with Patel. Well, now we know why, don't we? You see, things are happening. They just don't happen as quickly as everyone wants. And by the way, Brian Driscoll was one who would not unmask all those agents who were involved in the January 6 cases. Remember, he provided the employee record number, not the names. I guess what goes around comes around. Kash Patel did not view him anymore as cooperative, so removed him. Yadini was also the one who said the Steele dossier was true. It just takes a little time. Just like it does with Gabbard, right? Nothing's happening. So she uncovers the information. The information we've covered for you in great detail. Do you feel it's true or untrue? Based on what I saw, pretty detailed information. I think she proved her case. More than proved her case. What does the mainstream media feel? She didn't prove her case. Desperate and irresponsible. She's going to talk about aliens next. Or Maddow pressed her for evidence, and on her conspiracy theories, and she fell embarrassingly short. This is what they do. Because, of course, Gabbard says they are complicit in the conspiracy themselves. And so the majority, or not the majority anymore, a big portion of America says, see, it's all lies. But it's the same media that's falling apart. The same media that's being canceled. So as people look for handcuffs and arrests, the momentum's there. The world is a-changing. And I still have to engage in this argument, and I'm still a little bit out of sorts. This week's been an interesting week, because as I am watching momentum build, watching Kash Patel just yesterday purge the FBI more, as I watch what I'm about to announce for you, Trump just did, and I'm seeing this card and this deck continue to build, I'm watching people fall further away from what he's doing. I'm scratching my head and I'm wondering, I'm like, folks, everything is changing. He's ripping apart the media, the mouthpiece for what used to be the establishment, the Beltway. And they're losing their power and authority. And if you're listening to the folks here who you think still have a voice, look at where CNN is on this ranking right now. They're down here. They have nobody watching them anymore. They're down 23%. MSNBC down 9%. Fox News is sitting up here. 2.4 million viewers compared to 497. Nobody listens to them anymore. So if you're worried about what they have to say, you shouldn't be. But this is how they've rewired everyone's brain, as if they matter. They don't matter. To listen to their opinion or the opinions of Howard Stern is ridiculous. Why do you think they're disappearing? We are winning. Just watch us. Trump is winning Supreme Court victory after Supreme Court victory because everything you've been fed and told were lies. The Supreme Court's been supporting decision after decision after decision that what we thought was normal is normal. What we believed in the Constitution was correct. And what was promoted was warped visions of what the Constitution never meant. Tariffs were bad. Remember? 1,500 economists agreed Trump's tariffs are terrible. How did that work out for him? Because they seem to be working pretty damn good. So much so that even Bill Maher had to come out and say, yeah, I was wrong, folks. What we were told was normal. Woke was the normal. It's now dead. And there's nothing to report on anymore. So much so that even Gina Carano now gets her settlement back. But we're not winning. Nothing's coming back to normal. We're still losing because we don't have handcuffs and prison time. If that's the normal you're waiting for, you may be waiting for a very, very long time. Because by overwhelming majority right now, we are winning. Just not in the form and fashion that many may have expected. And so I've spent almost 2 days now covering the victories because I don't want anybody to lose mentally. I want us to win mentally and to continue the momentum. Because if you watch what's happening to the Democrats, they can't even carry on a sentence right now. They can't carry on a thought, let alone keep their party united. They are fragmented and broken. They can't keep their own unified message. Did you hear Jasmine Crockett's own team come out yesterday and say she holds up in her apartment, rents a Cadillac Escalade to drive from her apartment to Congress, even though most people just take their staffer's car? She makes them go rent an Escalade for appearances, berates them on the way there, gets her soundbite, turns back around, goes back to her apartment where she holds up and berates them again. This is what's in Congress as their leadership. And Pelosi can't finish a sentence. And Dollar Store Obama sits there and lectures people for hours. And we're losing? Who's the leader of the Democrats right now? There is none. They don't exist. Or some would argue who's the leader of the Republicans right now, and I don't know if I could argue with you on that outside of President Trump. And we need the next leader. And I really don't see that as being J.D. Vance personally. I know I don't. I'm sorry for everybody who's a J.D. Vance fan. I get it. I just don't see he has the chutzpah, but that's me personally. So I'd love to see that in the comments below. Do you believe J.D. Vance can truly be the next leader? I don't personally, but I'll let you see that. Because I need a man who's not afraid, as is President Trump, to symbolically do, and this appears to be, again, a minor story. Before we get to this story, because there was something equally as important, and I didn't mean to skip over this, because a bounty was put out. Did you hear this announcement?
Today, the Department of Justice and State Department are announcing a historic $50 million reward for information leading to the arrest of Nicolas Maduro. Maduro uses foreign terrorist organizations like TDA, Sinaloa, and Cartel of the Suns to bring deadly drugs and violence in.
That's all I need to hear. Do you know the cojones it takes? In actuality, the common sense it took to do that? Do you know how the Biden administration pacified that man for so many years and let what he did appear as normal? Do you think we're stopping right now and we're not winning? We just put a $50 million, I call it bounty, reward, call it what you want, on Nicolas Maduro, finally, after he seized another election, and we're not winning? Because there's not handcuffs and arrests? This is momentum unlike anything we have ever seen before. I'm going to cover the title, one story by one story by one story. Bloodbath at the FBI, $50 million bounty, and then the man does exactly what he promises. Big Balls gets beat up in D.C. An area symbolic to the world. If you can't secure Washington, D.C., and you, news source after news source, can show a man beat up in what is the symbol of freedom to the world, what are you representing? Do I want to see federal law enforcement trucked in to Washington, D.C., or even needed? Of course not. It's a horrible, horrible visual. But do I want to see it any other way? Of course not. I want it secured first. and then we'll worry about it afterwards. President Trump is officially surging federal law enforcement into D.C. to fight violent crime. It's sick that he has to do it. Absolutely sick. The Democrats had plenty of time to fix the crime issue, but they refused. There will be an increased presence of federal law enforcement in response to crime in D.C. We'll take back our capital. Anybody else had the cojones to do that other than President Trump? But we're not winning. Not enough. Support, friends. Support. Because at this point, with the momentum we're seeing, our support needs to be building. And as that support builds, his momentum will continue to build. Will there be steps back? Will there be mistakes? Of course. But going into this weekend, I didn't want anybody, because I can't believe it's actually been more of a battle to fight for him recently than ever before. Because I can't believe that people aren't seeing the victories that he's having, the impact that he's having. And I don't want anybody to be blinded by it, because it's before your very eyes. Do I want to see military vehicles rolling in the streets of D.C.? Of course not. Is it necessary? Unfortunately, it is. As long as they're not there touching private citizens or harassing citizens, if that happens, yeah, I'll have a problem with President Trump, absolutely. If they're there going after thugs and violent crime, yeah, nothing else they've done has worked. Capitol Police can't seem to secure things down. But folks, he's winning. And there'll be a lot more to report. He's cleaning house. He's getting rid of the Beltway bandits, one by one by one, and the momentum is building. And I've been tripping over my words today, because I swear I bit the backside of my lip so hard last night that I almost cried. And it is still in severe agony. So as you heard me stumbling over some of my words today, that is why, just so you know. Ever done that? Miserable. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight, signing out.